Going on, everybody? I posted this a while ago, and this is my WordPress. I figured I would just go ahead and read it for you. I don't write too often much anymore because I much rather enjoy talking, but this is the last thing I did write, and maybe you guys will enjoy hearing me speak through this one. I totally forgot I read this, but somebody reminded me about it, so here goes. It's titled Fringe Dwellers and Bridge Workers. He told me his father was a neurologist and his father-in-law was of royalty in Scotland or someplace in Nova Scotia. It really didn't matter as to where, he was telling me the truth. His mother and father had so much money that they ended up getting bored with one another. And his stepmom ended up with his father and the stepfather ended up with his mother. They just basically swapped. He reminded me of the kid from the movie Salt Lake City Punk. That was an awesome movie. Intelligent and intelligible with a smearing of anarchy. But most people think anarchy to be something that is surely not. I'll get onto that another time a little more. As he was talking about being houseless, not homeless, as I will remind everyone, I wasn't at all surprised at the way he viewed society and its normative conditions, textures, and inane arbitrary rules. It wasn't a long interaction, but enough for an empath to sense his complete lack of respect for a system that doesn't respect humans. I guess I'll call it the numeric, inhumane codex of false kings and faux rulers of consciousness. As he continued on, he spoke of people that would take him in and offer him a place to stay. But there is always that opportunity cost, or CODB, cost of doing business, that would end up cropping up. First, it would be a place to come and shower, have a shave and a meal, then would progress into a place to sleep. And then next, maybe into a key to the house, but at what service cost? Then they would almost unanimously sequester his company and his companionship, which for a small part he was willing to generously provide, until it became a question of where was he going, when would he be back? Oh wait, stay and talk. Oftentimes there was a TV on in the background, and all of the Meads, Terrier, and Hidden Hand of Fear mongering at work. He would undoubtedly choose the streets instead of a benign conversation peppered with the fright that tumbled through the mind of these seemed-to-be champions. What did the streets have to offer that the touted security of a house didn't? It was funny, as he was speaking to another houseless spirit and I, he talked about the bullshit and terror-mongering machine that fed the minds of the masses. And as he did, he said loudly and abruptly, "There's a terrorist!" Then he looked to his right, on the other side of the outdoor sitting arena, adjacent to the cafe with the live music, where a girl and her boyfriend were shook with the face of fear. He looked at them and smiled and said, "See? You were just scared, weren't you?" To which the girl smiled sheepishly and said, "Yes, I was." He had a short recourse with the two of them, and then continued to tell us about the people that would bring him in and how he would much rather be on the streets. It was all a matter of stressors, micro and macro, mental and physical, emotional and psychosomatic. The names and boxes, psychotherapists, lingos doesn't matter. It really just comes down to the stress, and the question is it worth it? The other man who I know because I've sat with and drank beers, I've listened to him play his drum, and he chimes in about being asleep one evening, when someone walks up to him, wakes him, to which he responds bluntly, "Get the fuck away from me, I'm trying to sleep." And we're all laughing. This man was trying to give him $5. Now both of them are laughing, saying there are more important things than money, namely sleep. Then the drummer says, "Yeah, but I could have used that $5. This turns into the story of his drum being stolen a few days prior. The Salt Lake City Punk had to run and do something, so we bid him farewell. The drummer continued on telling me a story about his mother giving him some cash a while back to purchase the drum. It was a nice piece. I've seen it and I've heard it. It was a $230 leather skinned, and his hands retied the leather to his specification. "Steal my shoes, steal my backpack, just don't steal my drum," as he rolled a cigarette. He says this a few times, but is smiling a bit. I say, "Hey, it just gives you a little more time to relax and not worry about drumming." He agrees, and he says he'll manifest a new one soon. As I pour him some Taka vodka with fresh lemon and raw honey syrup that I made that morning, he continues on that he can't tell his mother that his drum was stolen. You should be aware that this young spirit is in the body of a 50-year-old. Worn from the streets, sure, but not wretched or decaying, just aged. He is worried that if he were to tell his mom, it would ruin her entire week because she is a very emotional person. He used to have a place and 7 or 8 drums before Hurricane Katrina. I really despise the idea of naming events or natural phenomenon, even if they are weather modification programs in place by military or magicians or, as in storms and such. To personify the wind is a really bizarre and tragic philosophy. It's like keeping a dead body. It's a pin in your conscience to identify a bleak event. I seem to be a verb, as Buckminster Fuller said. I have this tatted on my right forearm. To think that you can put a name on an event of wind and make it a stagnant placeholder or an immovable objective noun, is a giant boulder in the human experience for the metaphysician. There's this pervasive energy that occurs when one speaks of those fearful set of 3 numbers in U.S. history, which happened in New York, or a name for a possible event that may not even happened, it may not even occurred or was staged. I'm always curious as to the true history and origins, as maybe the victors' tales have been much exaggerated or never even occurred at all. Is it all smoke and mirrors? The mystic in the mist and the black and white mirrors. As the man tells me more about his drum being stolen and the possibility of his mother's worry, I move to the idea of the noble lie. It's really a passing idea about feelings, emotions, misdirections, magic, control, and the dominator complex, but I digress. He is concerned and empathetic to her plight, so he would rather not have her worry and burden her with his debacle. What her concern is another matter completely, especially when you intensify it with the black mirror of the dark arts. To the casual reader is referred to as the television. Tell lies to your vision. Magic is absolutely, unequivocally, without question, real. The Newtonian materialistic worldview has again and again been completely shattered and rearranged, both by science and the conscious traveler. Even lay people have seen and experienced things and events that just couldn't be so, but it happened. They observed it. The television and the actual physical experience, the dream world, the astral realms, and a place that some have walked. That place is a reality that is just as this one is. There is no discernible difference whatsoever. Down to the words on this page, the smell of this coffee shop, the pictures and the people. I have been there a few times. Inception. It is not a place of casual, subconscious dream, nor it is an out-of-body experience. Look up right now. Look around your room. Smell. Touch something. Observe the feeling. Kick your shin against something. Talk to your dog. All the same. What is that place? Where is this place right now that you proceed to live from? You think it's physical? You think it's your mind? It's a strange culmination of what you think of as space and time. It's intersection of those along with your conscious mind that sequesters an experience by rubbing the genie's lamp. I'm sitting in a coffee shop in a plush leather chair, quad shot of espresso with a spot of cream and some simple syrup. Espresso needs a bit of sweetener some days. I have a day-old pastry with a thick, sticky, icky cream cheese frosting. Why get the day-old? Well, it offers me something new. If I were to pick what I think I wanted from the large glowing case of pastries, I probably wouldn't venture too far from what I think I want. Why am I even eating right now? Basically, I have no employment, and my funds are in the almost empty category. I'm in search of a new place to live, and yet I somehow just can't find the need to care. See, these people on these streets are houseless spirits that have their levels of worry, care, delight, and a whole variety of subtext and textures to their life and experience. Me, on the other hand, I enjoy being a bridge worker between what is actually at least 2 widely different realms of experience that exist simultaneously on this earth plane. There is a desire to have a roof over my head, and the troubles and stresses of some of the digital inorganic world that I do not in the least mind whatsoever. At the same time, I have slept outside in the park amongst the flora and the fauna. I truly enjoy it. However, warmth and companionship is something that I don't think Maslow's hierarchy of needs quite captures correctly. As his theory, along with Freud and his cousin Edward Bernays, are built on the back of capitalism and patriarchal dominator principles, which are all subsets of the materialist worldview. They exist because people have been sold a notion that their mind is broken into sin, and that they cannot and should not trust themselves or their experience. Their mind and their body isn't their own, and someone else, namely God or the government, should shepherd their experience into an afterlife. They might be here, kinda, but not really. Just tinker for the corporatocracy. Collect your biosurvival tokens and stand in this line over here until the next incarnation. They might have you at the center of it. They are a special decree of magicians. I don't honestly know if these participants in the priestcraft are even aware of their position. The psychologists and doctors and scientists and the religious folk I'm speaking of. It feels like there's this giant place we all live with all of these archons, but not too many really have any idea what they're involved in. It seems the ones that do are beyond altruistic. I can't find the right word though, maybe you can. I suspect most people involved in the arts are not at all well aware of it. Sure, some are, but I doubt most are even aware, as they are inside of a spell as well. Think of people in all industry who are just trying to make a living to get by, to pay for the house, to get the husband, wife, kids, cars, jobs, etc. Even the captains of leaders of business. I wonder if they're how much caught up in the illusion of material they are before they're... I wonder how caught up in the illusion of material before them they are. As Helen Keller most famously said, I'd rather have vision with no sight than sight with no vision. When I embarked on a 40-day water fast with my best friend and goddess, we both could see the room we were in with our eyes closed. The Bible says something to this effect, that a rich man has a less chance of entering the kingdom of heaven than does a camel have a chance to fit through the eye of a needle. What does that really mean? It simply means that if you are rich with worldly goods and know not that the riches of this world came out of your imagination, then you can quickly forget your birthright as a giant creative God force of imagination. If those physical delights have become the thing responsible for your happiness and despair, then you have lost your access to the imagination, which is analogous to the kingdom of heaven where all physical treasures are brought down from. I'm a minimalist, and in most respects of life, although, as I said, everything in moderation, even excess. As the meditation for life tends to side with the explicit nowness or newness of things and experience, there's always this glimpse into the future and hopes and desires which permeate all experience. Yet at the same time, there's this infinite longing for the primordial, immovable permanence of balance, peace, harmony, and someone, a clear reflective being, a repository of the sameness in another being. Aren't we all the same? En Lakesh. But surely, there is a clean mirror without black or white that shows you and is your perfect equal. The caves in the meditation and the mind of the mindless, the formless immortal being. Yes, but what is the experience without the physical correspondence? Even in these other realms, when I sleep in this body, I know this body is asleep, yet I have as vivid of experience of physicality in those realms as well. So then what is the purpose of that dream? What is then the purpose of this dream? Are you dreaming the butterfly, or are you the butterfly dreaming you? As we take out heavenly world of the mind and magic and all the infinite creative potential of imagination and secure it into the elements, we find ourselves either in our mind or out of our minds. This drummer without his drum, he knows his music and his sound. Out of his imagination provide him his source of energy, currency, and income. It was taken from him in the darkness of the night, just as we have all had our fall, and our memories and imagination taken from us all somehow. We must all go to the precipice of space and time, the doorway of perception, of imagination, reality, and material, and stand there as a bridge for our own unique experience, and to show the experience to others so that we and they, too, may imbibe the living waters of our own creation. What a strange and magical kingdom we all have access to, if only we choose to implement our enormous birthright of the universal mind of imagination. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and if you ever get a chance, you can get into my much older stuff. Probably it goes back to, 2012 even. Maybe even a little earlier than that, and a lot of old writings on etymology and psychology, some allegory stuff, Oh, Dolly clone. There we go. That's a fun one. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and chat soon. Cheers, everybody.